Peace be upon you. You have to understand how your approach or practical application of spiritual knowledge, understanding, pursuit, or your own intimate spiritual beliefs, etc., practices, how they constantly condition the way you perceive or interact with others. Has it benefited you, or has it turned you into something that is someone, or something that is rather even more so incompatible, even more so unsympathetic, unempathetic, or disconnected from anyone else and their level of understanding and reality, therefore disconnected from the whole purpose of any of us pursuing or being in any way healed, corrected, or in our functioning at our highest level currently possible, because there's a purpose in that, and that it usually that implies that we will be therefore guided on our path to assist, impact other people's lives, right? So action wise, practical wise, interactions and relationship wise, how has your perceived or progress or pursuit thereof, how has that translated based on feedback and overall results in your practical reality? How has it benefited? Has it really corrected you or brought you to a new degree, whereas you see yourself as rather more prepared, willing, capable, or effective in when it comes to your desire of participating, feeling connected with others, and being, fulfilled in your attempts to feel a sense of belonging, purpose, and therefore build a sense of family and community. In other words, has your choice of spiritual pursuit, has it led you to a point of fruitful, productive, constructive, harmonious interaction or relationship with others to begin with? So before you say anything, it's very most probable actually that most of you have yet to truly attempt to apply practically beyond speech or communication or virtual interaction in your daily life. So no one is contesting nor questioning on whether you have achieved and integrated or even applied on a personal level all of the wisdom or information that you're constantly pursuing. If that were the case, you would stop pursuing, you would stop the intake at one point or another, the need or demand or request, and you would be out there applying it, right? In order to keep the flow going. The more you give, the more you receive, right? But since most are stuck in reception or seeking to receive, in the sense of constant need, incompleteness, or brokenness and pain, lack, and so on, that only means that you're either not applying what you're not testing it, therefore you're not seeing the fruits of what practical application of everything that you've received up until now would inevitably lead to, or you simply still searching for something that you're yet to find or receive. So, in other words, how is your manifestation going? It's not. All it takes is readiness and willingness. You're obviously not ready, or you feel, or someone has convinced you of the fact that you're eternally incomplete, that you're always, that you're to keep always and ever in pursuit of something else, something different, whether better, etc., or away from something worse. So there's either danger or on one side and the promise on the other, right? Punishment, reward. So either way, someone gets to gain out of that. That's the whole premises, why you would work to the extent that it does. But no one would sell if no one would buy. So you personally need to determine why you would still seeking for something that has failed to fulfill you, or alter in a beneficial manner, or keep to its promises, in other words. Alter beneficially your reality, practical wise, or at least emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. Where are the results? Proof is in the pudding? Yeah. Where's the pudding? Well, you need to make it yourself now. You cannot escape reality. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you've just found a way to escape reality. You're yet to determine on whether you intend to actually get back to life or not. To get back to us. To yourself. That self that will now be reflected through the eyes of those that you will meet along the way. And yes, you've got no control over what they choose to do, whether they're going to harm you, love you, how they're going to respond. But that was the lesson all along. You needn't try to control that anymore. But at the same time, it implies that you're not going to try and control or suppress whichever self may arise either, because you're not conditioned, neither by what one would stand to pay, nor be rewarded for, as long as they are their genuine self at any given time. That's irrelevant. You fulfill your task by being whatever you are. So it's not about you not knowing who you are. It's rather being attached to a self that's either a potential associated with someone else. And yes, that someone else may be another self from your past. Either way, you're not allowing whichever current self is trying to arise to actually live as is. This self does not control anything. This self understands that it exists for a purpose. This self is not defined. The self does not expect, demand. It just is. The self that is suppressed by all the other counterfeit potential selves that you're constantly presented with. At this point, you need to let them go, all of these selves, because they cannot help you. Nobody can. The self you see in someone else who may assist you, may love you, may help you, heal, save you. They can't. Nobody can. An ideal self, perhaps. One that is not hurt, one that is not struggling with resentment, anger, questions, trauma, cannot help you. It took a while. It takes a while, right? The journey for us to reach certain depths, there where hidden wisdom lies. And shall you overcome the keepers of said wisdom, truths, then you need to go back up. Otherwise, why would you seek it? Why would you pursue anything to begin with? The whole purpose all along was for you to conquer it and come back up. God works through you now. All that you've conquered is to be put to use. But only if you choose to. You may choose to color any hell you're stuck in and start imagining it to be something that it's not. Or you may brutally face it for what it is. Remember why you got there to begin with. And go back up. Seek the light. The same way you got there, it's the same way you get back up. And no one can nor should do it for you. You may deflect, you may hate, you may try and strategize, you may continue to try and go deeper and seek for more truths and more. You see, you won't find any until you learn to work with those you've already got. The reason you hate me is because I am none of the selves that you would like to be. I am my own self. I'm not selling you anything, nor do I need to be complacent, nor deceitful, or tactful, or there's no manipulation involved. That's the only language you speak now, and when you attempt to manifest, nature prevents you from doing so, because certain people with certain tools can be very dangerous to themselves and others. From deception or from hell, you cannot manifest. You're shocked constantly by the feedback that reality gives you every time you open your mouth and try and connect or speak to someone. From your perception, you're unable to see through their eyes. From your perception, your truth is the ultimate truth and the only. You don't see yourself as a piece of the puzzle. It's you. And you don't get why others don't get you. Why they don't connect with you. Why? Because you're high up on a pedestal, but right in the depths of hell. What does that make you? Unable to connect with someone from at their level of reality, their perspective. Yours is better. Yours is the best. The only. And if so, why has it failed to serve you? Said truth. What have you done with it? You may even think you're already in service, right? Spreading truth and light and love left and right. And maybe it's even a genuine form, since You're trying to completely disregard other people's perspective on what you have to impart, or say, or share, or do. My heart is in the right place. I'm doing it for all the rest. Yet, you fail to connect with others. Seven of Swords. It's not about others, not yet. It's still about what benefits you. It's not about what you say, it's about what you don't. It's not about what you did or do, it's about what you don't. Still in darkness lies potential. Answers in the questions. Heaven, right there in hell. A ray of light, a glimpse of hope. It's a misuse of truth, words, etc., intellect, a strategy. It's obvious, protecting one's interest, or at least so he thinks, right? In the service of self, seeking to fulfill perceptions of self and choices of possible selves that hold no truth to who you truly are, constantly conditioning you, separating you from anyone else. By a half-truths, delusion, false perceptions, one-sided perspectives. You're unable to connect with anyone else. Hence, people see that. Eight of Swords in reverse. You don't see them, but they see you. They see you as brainwashed or conditioned. There's no one to blame for that, but at this point, you're allowing yourself, or doing it yourself to begin with. Repeating yourself the same things or doing the same things. Obviously, there's an environment that makes this possible. It's all the same old, same old, same old. It's a parroting. People don't even take you seriously, not even stick around for too long. Once you've said a couple of things, they sense deceit. Selfishness. Stuck in your own bubble, on your own cloud, little cloud. Doesn't matter why. People just know that they cannot work with you. You are unable at this point. You're failing to yet consider the fact that it takes two to tango. So again, I have the sensation of you being derailed to such an extent, whereas what you do is defined as noble, empathetic, kind, genuine. Yes, but is it effective? Because nature does not lie. You're not giving anything, you're just taking. And you're not allowing anyone to truly give you anything, because you perceive it as imprisonment, limitation, attack, accusation, judgment. You yourself are doing it without even realizing it. So you're saying, I don't care about what anyone else says. I know what I know. I take my truth and there I go, right? You're not progressing though, because what you're holding is not your truth. You see? Trying to steal someone else's truth. You need to start using your own. Practical application. It's something new. It's a stage you need to return to with a new perspective and approach. newfound spiritual state of serenity and bliss in the moment while involved in doing something, no matter how futile it may appear. It's your own little, still your own little bubble, and reality is still very empowering individually. It's a revelation, a reminder of one's actual capacities, skills, resources, right? Overall spirit, manifestation skills, capabilities, skills generally speaking. It's a process. It starts with a pentacle and needs to be planted like a seed. You know it's a process. Investment, study, new approach. And again, I see finally you having a newfound willingness to return to being active, involved, wisely so, whereas it would be only natural for you to take the feedback into account in order for you to be consciously involved in the co-creative process so that you don't constantly feel pushed to the left and right. Once you accept the law of cause and effect, if I plant an apple seed, surely I do not expect it to come out as a pear or bananas, grapes, or anything else. So that's what this natural feedback is referring to. It's that simple. So based on genuine merit and effort that you undertake is what's gonna grant you the just and fair reflection in your practical physical reality of the effect, outcome, or consequence of what you've chosen to do, where you've decided, and how and why, most importantly, you've invested your energy, your time. But if you invested nowhere, nothing's gonna grow. Nothing else is gonna be given unto you until you do this next step. Apply yourself. Plant seeds. There's a lot of things that are out of our control, but there are others that are entirely and absolutely in our hands and dependent upon what we choose to do. As co-creators, this is our task. This is telling you already have what it takes here. If you see everything for what it is, you will also be able to see the path. This is purpose. Oh, I've got this. I'm sure I'll be led into doing what I need to do with it. Oh, I have this tendency. Oh, I have this. But beyond the self per se, but rather seeing yourself as a part of the bigger whole. And therefore realizing that there's always a purpose. You don't have to make sense of it. Just stay in the flow. So get to work. It's a change in jobs. It's offers and investments, attempts at making something be more viable and manifest. Ultimately, via hard work, decisive, determined, faithful actions, investment of energy and resources, finding the right environment, being willing to commit to a longer process, being willing to accept both your own nature, will, and current task, and divine will, and align yourself with it, working with nature rather than against it, seeing abundance and potential rather than lack. So, as I said, Four of Cups in reverse. The commiseration card, never enough. Oh yes, there is a lot. The blessings do not come from the places that you're stuck on, nor people, nor resources, nor nothing without God. It's already within you, everything you ever needed. Externally, it manifests as a show of compassion, conscious realization, illumination if you want to, but rather spiritual, energetical healing, a healing of the heart, an alchemization of traumatic memories. This was necessary. While involved in a process, it doesn't mean you will not get deep insight. As a matter of fact, you get a lot of deep insight, right, in front of the dynamics of manifestation in practical reality are far more powerful, right? Whereas when you're dwelling in the subconscious, in the emotional space, the underworld, so to speak, where you are currently at, and have been dwelling for a while here, you are just trying to reveal or discover what your actual desire is, and that grants you automatic fulfillment beyond or underneath all the layers that have been put over it, the covers, the packages, labels. You needed to discover what your actual desire is, because nothing seemed, whatever you were pursuing, convinced that that is what you needed, wasn't able to fulfill you, or was entirely denied to you. You felt stuck. You decided to resign altogether from trying to pursue fulfillment of any wish or desire. You decided the divine shall not grant you said fulfillment. If I want one, I don't get it. If I want another, I don't get it. Because none of them were the actual desire. It's a new found desire. At least your perception is that it's a new one. You're just discovering it now because you took over all the layers, which you couldn't do if you were involved in any other process. So that's why you were stuck. Dark night of the soul, alone, isolated, on an island somewhere. Though you couldn't actually say you were suffering yet. It's not about what you had, it's about what you didn't. And that thing that seemed to be lacking was constantly defined or portrayed, perceived even, as something that it wasn't. You couldn't have been fulfilled by either of these three cups. I sense specifically in this case because you already had them. If you were pursuing for the perfect marriage, well, you thought you had it, or you at least knew how to get it. Yet somehow when presented with the potential of said realization or fulfillment or manifestation, you said, no, I don't want this. And so on and so forth. And again, you go through the levels of desires, and via a process of elimination, either by fulfilling it or constantly substituting it, by allowing other new desires to be revealed. One door closes, another opens, right? You finally reach the genuine wish, not anyone else's. Cups that others may drink of and no longer be thirsty, but not you. Whatever is in them, it's not for you. You don't want it. You're trusting the divine to know what you actually need. Indeed, but you're not allowing him to guide you towards it. Whatever he's given to you, you refused it. No, it's something else. Even if it does not fulfill me, I know that. It must be something else. No, this is it. This is your cure right here. No, it's not it. It's something else. It's not what I had. It's not what I know. and it's not the potential of what you're presenting me. That's why it cannot heal you. If you associate whatever you receive with the divine working through others, then what does that say about you and your reaction to it? Do you willingly receive it, or are there conditions? How do you try and define what it is that you have been granted, bestowed, or given? But most importantly, do you see any purpose in it? There has to be purpose, otherwise you don't take the cup. These no longer have a purpose because you feel they either fulfilled it, right? You needed to drink this in order to become bigger. You needed to drink this in order to try and be smaller, right? You needed to do this to remove the poison. So what is this now? Is this poison? What is it? Well, you need to be brave. It doesn't matter what it is. Same way you drank all the others. You need to keep on going and allow this new desire, this new emotion, this new spiritual understanding, beyond the pleasant or unpleasant, to reveal itself. Allow yourself to just feel it all the way through. Let it do its business, its part, and be ever transformed. Yes, you don't know what you're going to turn into this time, but how long can you sit there? Take what's being handed to you, especially when handed through such a direct, subjective, impersonal means, as if it's handed straight from the clouds, a miracle. Alas, one that you did not manifest yourself, or at least not conscience-wise. One that may come a bit too late, or maybe you're not ready, you're no longer willing. Or maybe you're just a stubborn child that says, well, I don't want your candy now, I wanted it yesterday. Either way, divine timing is at play. Something is being offered to you. In the something, you see the new self. At least look at it. You may not like it. Any self may not even resonate with it or feel even unworthy of it. I'm receiving something. Others have decided and also have had this revelation of the conscience level to no longer be a part of anything. I'm too tired, I'm too exhausted, I'm too hurt, I'm too disappointed. I no longer want to play this game. Just gonna sit right here. Well, as long as there's emptiness, there will be something to fill it. Not something you determine, but nature moves to provide it. Except now you know. You found this truth in those dark places. That it's not about you. You're being given something because you're here for a reason. You are an answered prayer for someone else's blessing or curse, depending. You decide. No one's forcing you to take this cup, but you see it. Synchronicity, divine time, all of these terms that have been thrown around so much, right? The tree, the position, isn't that interesting? Is that the Buddha? Well, not spiritually, but somehow he's been brought to a Buddha-like state, even practical-wise, physically. He's not going anywhere, you see? Maybe you're not ready. One more thing to know, one more thing to find out. Maybe just one more shot, maybe just one more drink, maybe just one more video, maybe just one more. And that's your choice. The option won't be here for long. Nature will find someone else to work through if you refuse to be what you're now ready to be. You may think you're not. There's many people convincing you, and convince perhaps themselves to some extent. That's why it works so good. that they have all the cures, all the answers, and that you may need them and they can provide them for a price. And everybody benefits. No, not everybody. Not you and not them. But hey, nothing's for nothing. Something's bound to come out based on the nature of what you put in. So this is your reward, whether you like it or not. Take it. Own it. It's for a purpose. You may think, this is my reward. Acceptance of the fact that I've been disrespected, unwanted, or unloved. Yes, that's the reward. The reward unto the world is the fact that you went through it and you overcame it. You can help others do the same. At least you stand as living proof that it can be done. Does that make sense? Now you are restored and sent back up. Because remember, the roots are not below. The roots are above. So while you were descending to find the roots, that's why you were trying to actually go up. In reality, you were going down all the way through. That's how it works. Now, when you go up, you do the opposite. You go down. Something is restricted or reduced in order to elevate it. It needs to leave, drop all the baggage, everything that's been integrated. The rest is residue, or it's none of their concern or of usefulness to them. So you go towards the branches, people, bloodlines, divine sparks, collectives, families, groups. So the failure, practical-wise, is actually spiritual success. Does that make sense? Many refuse to do what their conscience dictates, what they've already discovered to be the truth about who they are and what they're meant to do, because there's no reward promised to any other self that constantly claims the right to exist. Yet they have none unless you give it to them. Whether it's the Pleiadian, the healer, the chosen one, the whatever it is. They all claim something, they want something as they rise. That's not whom you currently are, and you know it. So, it's not rewarding enough, it's not promising enough, or you're demanding, you're entitled, you want to know what's in it and what's going to happen next because you've been disappointed in the past. You're not going to be told. Only the brave, only the worthy. Okay, we have two cards and they're both flipped. We have Major Arcana and the Tower. And of course, some resistance and some wants that are being dropped here. The things you hold on to are not your friends. And if any should try to hold on to you, make sure you depart. Most important battles are to be carried alone. Just you and your God. Yes, that's subjective, personal, intimate connection with the Creator. It has to be that way. You do your part and move on. You don't give with expectation. You don't give with strategy. You don't give from a place of any definition of self. You don't expect. Anything else is corrupt. Hence why it cannot manifest anything but a painful, corrupt version of what you would have hoped to get based on what you put in, or you think you did. So, the resistance. On one side, some will let go and be completely berserk, while the others will have nothing to stand or fight for anymore. It's still a loss of self. The others hold on to anything that's tangible, what they associate with success or realization in a very physical, tangible sense, whether it's finances. This is the fall of financial institutions, governments, parliaments, health, hospitals, health institutions, so on, institutes, and so on. Either way, this is disaster, chaos, and calamity, and people fighting, no longer really sure about what they're actually fighting for. So in other words, all those who fight at this point have already lost. There's a saying that those who do not fight have lost from the get-go, right? Have already lost. What's telling you is there is such a thing as progress and movement forward without you feeling you need to aim towards something specific or push against boulders, push against other people, push beyond barricades, defenses, opinions, their own needs, desires, and interests. There's a way to fight. A way in which everybody wins. It's when you don't fight for yourself, nor for anything you may associate with your definition of failure or success, to rise, whichever self. I've done that, therefore, right, I am this and I am that. Whatever tries to define you, when taken from you, what's left? And this is out of your control. So it's liberation through denial, limitation, destruction, removal, blockages. Traveling is not advised. Neither is investing in real estate at this time. Don't invest in trying to fix your current home either. Careful about appliances, electrics. Make sure you focus on your sense of smell. It will tell you more than anything else. Your sight will not tell you if there's risk of fires and incidents of the sort. Careful about use of sharp objects and instruments. Careful about possible new surgeries. There are alternatives. You may actually be able to avoid it. Seek for a second opinion. Learn to be as self-sufficient as possible. Learn survival skills, for the very least, for example, how to light a fire. Learn more about substances, things you may ingest. Before you do so, again, be more self-sufficient. There's a reason why there's so many that are no longer going to be available, because they're poison. They're not good for you. Learn to let go of anything that's trying to hold you back or define you in any way. Learn to continue to interact as you're being led in your daily life, and observe from a more detached, impersonal stance. Learn to listen and receive more, and respond accordingly, according to your current level of understanding. But fair and objective, not reactive, not from a hurt self, nor a conflict of interest, because in reality there should be none. You just keep on flowing. Don't push onto others, don't allow others to push onto you. It's that simple. But in any fair dynamics and interactions, always something to learn. Limitations and potential are revealed at the same time. There's a complementarity in that. There's a beauty in two diverse people entertaining each other's diversity, not feeling triggered by it, and see how they can enrich each other's lives with no expectations nor attempt to control or define the nature of said connection, nor the outcome, timeline-wise, nor practical, financial-wise. So no more corrupt intentions or interactions or with ill intent or ulterior motives, agendas, whether hidden or revealed, it doesn't even matter. If you are at any time tempted to be dishonest, alter facts, or triggered, then it's time for you to, do the work on yourself. And that was the role of said person. So learn to better interpret reality, decode it, read through the code, while you yourself try to be more authentic and true to whatever you may be at any given time. Making sure that your heart is always in alignment with divine will and in the right place. There's only way to do that. You keep the selves that rise at bay by seeing them as merely answered prayers, forces working through you, necessary to fulfill, heal, assist, and why not sometimes correct someone else, the same way others have been used in the same manner throughout your journey. Not to define you, nor cancel you out or challenge what you are per se, but rather to help you discover and embrace it as you flow through the various stages. Seven. Success guaranteed. No resistance, no forcefulness, no attempt to define. This sense of lack of roots that you are feeling are actually what's gonna, the energy, the perfect energy for you to be able to navigate the current circumstances. Pay no mind to how others navigate based on their challenges and limitations and skills or abilities, lack thereof, and so on. Feel free to say no to what you feel you're not ready for. Don't take in or receive things that you're not gonna put to any use or you no longer want, right? So that you can receive what you actually need, what's yours. If you're really keen on discovering, brave enough to see what you actually deserve, then you refuse anything else that is of no use to you or anyone else at this time. If you think you know what love is, then you should refuse expression of anything that love is not, however that may translate. So you're learning to navigate in lack, in darkness, in the unknown. You see now that that was the point all along. Knowing is cheating. I guess it's just merit, but it's also a responsibility. What do you do with what you know? Because once you know, right? Practical wise, I know you want to know. There's no new purchases. As a matter of fact, for some of you, there's a downsizing, readjustment, financial, living environment. It doesn't mean it's not an improvement, but it translates as a restricting, a limiting, or it only expands something else. It reveals your actual skills, such as creative skills, self-reliance, resourcefulness. Should that define who you are? Or perhaps should another self that is living in abundance and excess, should that define who you are? Are you really, truly defined by events and occurrences that you have to navigate through, much like everyone else, just at different times? Kings and princes and beggars, do you want to exchange places? Is that what it takes for one to be able to appreciate what they have? The saying, you don't know what you have until you lose it. You never had it to begin with, because if you did, it would have fulfilled its task. You would have moved on to something else instead of wanting more of the same thing. Magic in reverse. So, shortcuts. Everybody wants shortcuts. Everybody hopes that things would be a lot easier, especially if in their life, they had to take the hard way out. They haven't been dealt the best of hands. They've had to struggle. Yes, everybody has received something and been denied something else. That's how it translates for us. We cannot all have it at the same time. Not in this reality. Timeline-wise. There's a reason for that. Why would we interact if we wouldn't need one another? If all the pieces were the same, do we really have a puzzle? Where's the unity in that? And what's the spirit that binds them all? So in trying to do away with God once again, we've only, proven over and over that there is nothing without him. He is all there is. So start doing things in his name, but make sure that you won't use this as yet another way to escape your responsibilities. I didn't do it, divine timing. God did it, not me. So don't go there either. And when we say his will be done, it doesn't mean that you don't have to align yours with his. And when you say I can't, well, everything else is telling you, well, if you're here, yes, you can. Prosperity, I called it. A genuine feeling or sensation of abundance and prosperity. The frequency of prosperity supports our feeling of well-being by allowing the inclusion of everything that makes our body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit sing. You see how they're separated for a reason, right? As everything else in reality, they're meant to have that said purpose and uniqueness to them. Hence, even all the sand in the world, there's not one grain that will be similar to the other. Yet, it's all one. Intended purpose of it was wholeness. And so it goes for everything else in nature, especially humans. While we were busy trying to corrupt nature, nature kept on providing, sustaining us, despite our attempts to destroy it. The very hand that fed us. While we were trying to escape our conscience, the truth, light, God, we were sustained in the depths of darkness, overcame the most terrible trials. Bezrat Hashem, with his help alone, praise be the Most High. With forces, resources, energy, and people granted unto us as blessings from above. Yet, we kept denying him finding substitutes for him. Anything but to face him. Anything but to face ourselves, our conscience, that inner judge that we so terribly fear, even more so than the accuser. You see, they're one and the same. Right in the midst, in your center, that's where you reside. The spark, Holy Spirit incarnate, to reside in your unique spark. Nothing would be complete without you. It invites us to express ourselves in joy and celebration of the abundance and riches that the universe provides. Start embracing a real sensation of abundance, and not one that is deluded or anchored in the future or potential future and so on. If that would stand at the foundation or the basis of your actions and motivation and sense of empowerment, and then we're all flocked. And that's kind of what's happening. Everybody's flocked in little small flocks. Okay, who's the shepherd? The wolves? Genuine prosperity and abundance is a state of being. It's only natural for everyone to get exactly what they need at any given time. And yes, everything works through us, yet we should claim no merit or benefit for whatever was divinely ordained and bestowed unto anyone, whether it's knowledge or wisdom or intellect. They're all being granted unto us, but not for the service of any self, unless it is in order to benefit the whole. Anyone is complete in and on its own, yet its very existence is based upon its functional role within the collective that they're led to be a part of. Whether that's a family, whether that's no people at all. Maybe it's animals, maybe it's just you praying somewhere for someone. Maybe you have no benefits. Any self has no benefits, yet you fulfill your task. That's what progress is. Free choice implies you making that choice rather than it being imposed upon you. Nature can only assist, guide, and even protect and shield you or anyone else. At any given time, that's being has its right to exist denied. They're prevented from doing their part or being exactly what they're intended to be. Their freedom or free choice trespassed, transgressed. That's when nature moves. So again, nature makes no mistakes. It is always fair. Time, the great equalizer, gives us all a fair shot. As much as we have, not more, not less. And yes, we're not supposed to know how long. Courtship in reverse. Child in reverse. Bad health in reverse. False perceptions. False memories. And a lot of judging. You don't like what you've received because you don't see the benefits in it. And you won't until you try to actually do so wholeheartedly because it benefits others through you. Maybe you don't like the color of your skin. Well, someone else sees it as radiant white light, a glorious example of divine mind, intelligent design at work. Magical, miraculous. So, beyond whatever you perceive as not enough, not good enough, not what you want, whatever you're trying to substitute, that has been a part of who you truly are, at least in this incarnation. Those minor details used as filters, but also as guides, guidelines to some extent, whether to challenge others or move past said definitions. They're meant to reflect diversity, not because it's neither good nor bad, because it just is, and uniqueness. And because of said uniqueness, rather than seeing it as an impediment, a challenge per se, to see diversity and everyone's uniqueness as long as genuine and true and embraced as the gift unto the world that it is. No one is irrelevant. Do you know when we start becoming problematic, irrelevant, destructive, cancerous, therefore separate further? Is when we hold ourselves either above or below anyone else. When we try to serve the self rather than the other. When we deny God and try to claim all merit for ourselves. When we expect rewards or fear punishment rather than consequence. And only if it hurts or benefits us. Those are usually what determine most of humans' choices and behavior. What's beyond that? Is it possible that the fulfillment of oneself lies in the fulfillment of anyone else other than whatever self? Can we do it without seeking for respite and restitution, or allowing our shadow to do so, expecting something for it? How many can? Well, most of you couldn't, hence why you were trying to achieve just that. How can I forgive? How can I forget? How can I make sure that I am never gonna be any of these people or do what they do? Or you don't get to determine that. You will be exactly what you need to be at any given time. Your attempt to control that is what led you astray and as far from yourself as possible into the hands of the shadows, spirits,